Hello and welcome to Confidently Wrong, a show by regular dudes talking with confidence about content we have no right to speak about with any kind of authority, but do it anyway. I'm Wesley Nakamura, and as always, I'm joined by award-winning director Brian Redondo and Savon Jones, aka Captain Bonnie. This is episode 165, and we find out if the penguin is the predator or the prey on HBO Max's new show. I'm confident that it's going to be the best show you've ever listened to, and well, hey, if it's not, you can always ask us for a refund.
Incredible!
Hello, gentlemen. Welcome back. It's Confidently Wrong. Good to see you, gentlemen. Y'all got plans to go to the farmer's market today, Sav?
No, today's my podcasting day. If I was going to go farmer's marketing or to the stuff, I would have been
Already there.
out right now. I'd probably be getting home by now.
Savon is podcasting all day. He's not just recording Confidently Wrong right now. He's also hosting his other podcast right after this called Savon Smokes, and in which he tries different versions of weed and gives his hot takes on them.
Ooh, that's not a bad podcast idea. Savon, you should trademark that.
It's not.
You're
just
welcome.
Like, careful, y'all. I might be like, Savon, why don't you put this effort into Confidently Wrong? Because this is my true baby. This is my new brainchild.
You're like, because then I don't got to share the revenue with y'all motherfuckers.
Yeah, I like to do it. No, but I like to do my farmer's market stuff early in the morning. Middays, it gets crowded. They start to pack up, and all the good stuff is gone. I feel you. So I'll go.
It gets too hot. It's too hot out there.
And the heat ain't that bad, but like, yes.
Brian, you got dance plans today?
No, today's a special day. Today's the day that rather than going dancing, which is what I would normally do on a Saturday, I'm gonna go shoot a short movie with an actor friend of mine who wrote a script and needed
now he's a writer friend of yours.
Now he's a writer friend. Hope he's not listening because he might be better at writing than acting. And we're gonna film it today, so it should be interesting. There is a risque scene involved.
Nice.
And I'm really hoping that this dude didn't just write a script so that some woman would touch his flesh.
Wow.
We'll see.
Wait, have you read the script or what?
Of course I've read the script.
Okay.
Of course I read the script. There's a couch scene. That's
nice.
That's what I got to say, and I got to film it, and I got to do it professionally.
You're going to shoot it all in one day?
Yes, because this script is
just for fun.
9 pages long.
Okay. So it's just a short scene.
It's very short. It's 2 scenes, very short, 1 location. And it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. And I swear I'm not shooting a porno. I swear that's not.
We're not judging.
That is not what's happening.
I'm not judging you here, bro.
This is not Cam Soda. This is not OnlyFans. There will be no revenue from this. But maybe it would be better if there were.
Do you have a lighting person, or are you just gonna do the lights on your own? Or just natural light it?
I have lights.
Nice.
I don't have a lighting person.
You're gonna be the lighting person also.
I'm gonna be
everything.
the Bob the Builder. I'm gonna be the
your one man crew here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to think of the dude from Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, I don't know.
Who's that guy? No, Ralph. his opposite.
Oh, I have no idea.
The builder
Build
guy.
It Bill something?
Something like that.
I like that name. Build It Bill? Amazing. All right. Let's get into it. Good luck on your shoot. Hopefully that's it sounds like a good time, right? Like whole afternoon doing something you love to do just for fun. Like you don't get to do projects like that very often. So
it's slightly stressful. But
yeah, but it'll be good. It'll be a good chance to grow and yeah, for sure. I like it. Going outside your boundaries just a little bit or your comfort zone a little bit. It's good. It's good for us when we do things like that. All right. We got Kaya's actually birthday party this afternoon for the family. We're gonna do 2 parties. We're gonna do a family birthday party here.
2 parties.
We're gonna do it should be small today. It should be like 15 people, something like that, including us. So it'll be fairly small. Just have some dinner and then I think we're catering or we're just ordering like Italian food that we'll go and pick up. And Jen made a cake, and that'll be it. It's just be kind of low key. And then next weekend we're doing a party for her friends. This will be the first one where she gets to invite like other kids to her party, and we're gonna have it at this play center area where they've got like a bunch of it's like a smaller room, and they got like a bunch of sets, like a fake house and a fake barn, and I don't know, different crafts that they can do, and it'll be a good time. They get to do pretend, do pretend things, and little kids, 3-year-olds love that kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to it. I bet you they're gonna have a ton of fun. So that'll
Hey,
be
Savon, wake up.
I love the kids. I love what Wes does.
And it's gonna be Moana
I want to
themed
be a
next
part
week.
of your family.
All right. Well, I'll send you the updates.
Yeah, we
as
were not
go.
invited to the player area.
No, you were not. You have to be 3 years old to play in the play area.
I'm a kid at heart.
You still can't play. I'm sorry, it's not for you.
I'm gonna be hitting the kids with
not
king,
everything.
I'm gonna hit them with
has to be
king
for
moves
everybody.
from Tekken. That's the angle slam. Oh, watch out!
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to this because this kind of snuck up on me. I didn't realize that it was coming out so soon. The Penguin, a new series on
the
Max.
Penguin snuck up on you?
I thought you were talking about his child birthday. I was like your child birthday, your child stuff snuck up on you.
No,
like,
that did not sneak up on me. That happens every year on the same day of every year. It's going to be great. So we're talking about The Penguin, starring Colin Farrell. It's on HBO Max, or on Max, I guess it's now called. And it's taking place in the same universe as The Batman from a couple of years ago, where it was Matt Reeves and was directing, and it was Robert Pattinson as Batman. So it's kind of that more detective-y, slower paced, loud at times version of Batman, with very like golden hour rays of sunlight coming through everywhere. It was always golden hour during that movie, which was great, or it was nighttime.
And raining. It was always raining.
Always raining. And it's still always raining in Gotham in this show. So we're back in Gotham.
Rainy season.
Yeah. We get this spin-off, like an offshoot, a little side hustle here for Colin Farrell. He's the star of it. It's so far I've only seen one episode. You guys have seen 2. No Batman shows up in this. It's just completely focused on Penguin and his dealings with some of the crime families and what he wants to get out of this and how to make money and everything. So Brian, what do we need to know walking into this show, especially if someone maybe hasn't seen the Batman from a couple years ago?
So I did watch the Batman, and I was a fan. You
was
can
enjoyable.
go back and listen to our podcast about it. Maybe sort of loses it in the last third,
sort of.
But still a really great depiction of Batman, I thought. That being said, watching The Penguin in 2024, 2 years after the Batman came out, is there a lot to remember from the Batman movie for this show? Like, Savon has not watched the Batman and still able to follow this show, I think, which he might be saying or about to say. But honestly, all you really need to know is that at the end of the Batman movie, the head of the mob family that the Batman was tracking is dead, and Gotham is recovering from the disastrous events of the Riddler's attack on the city, which caused a huge portion of the city to get flooded. I think the Riddler detonated some dams or something. I don't even remember how he pulled it off, but he did. There's huge damage to the city, and there's a void in the biggest crime family in Gotham. And that's kind of that. I don't even remember where Batman lets off at the end of the movie, right? Like, is he hurt? Does he go into hiding? Is he just like, pumping his fist on top of a building? I don't even remember. Who knows? It kind of doesn't matter because he doesn't even show up in these early episodes of The Penguin. And I'm not sure that he will show up in the entire show.
I doubt it.
So really, The Penguin is about the world of Gotham outside of Batman, right? It's the world of Gotham. It's the underbelly of the city. It's the crime world. It's the mafia, the mob family, and the Penguin as an agent within it.
Lovely. I agree 100%. That's what you need to know. It seems like Batman side characters often get their own shows. We've had Gotham on TV, which centered around Jim Gordon. There was.
Oh, is that what that was about?
I'm pretty sure. I think mostly it's around. Yeah, I think mostly it's around Jim Gordon. We've had the Harley Quinn show. We've had Kite Man on Max as well. They've got their own animated shows. So there's a
There's
lot.
a show Pennyworth
Pennyworth. Oh, so it's about Alfred.
about
Yep. All right.
Alfred.
So side characters definitely get
Joker
their own
has his own
shows.
movies.
Oh, true. So we've got tons of offshoots of Batman, and we've had tons of Batman shows and movies over the years as well. So do we want this? Do we need this? Do you care about a Penguin show? Brian, lead us off.
On face value, like Penguin, one of the least interesting rogues in Batman's rogue gallery,
What?
right? Like if you're gonna take a villain and give him his own show, right? Like of course everyone would think Joker, right, would be probably number one.
Sure.
But then where would Penguin be on that list? Number 28? Maybe?
He's above Clayface.
Whoa, Clayface is such a cool character. You wouldn't want to see Clayface, this actor, and then like mess up his body, and then be able to turn himself into other people walking around the city. That would be so cool. Killer Croc would be so cool. Like the guy that's obsessed with time management would be so cool.
No,
like the Mad Hatter would be really cool.
Mad Hatter would be cool.
The Penguin,
no one wants
the
the
guy
time
that
guy.
squawks. Like, do you remember Danny DeVito in Batman Returns from like 1992? Like that was awful. He's just a guy that waddles and squawks and has a monocle for some unknown reason.
Colin Farrell doesn't wear a monocle though, unfortunately.
And you're just
good.
Like, why? Like, why?
And a top
why?
hat. Usually a top hat.
What would this be? Like, in all honesty, the interest for the Penguin TV show that we do have is just the fact that Colin Farrell is the Penguin. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Sav, what do you think? Do we need this? Did you want it? How are you feeling about a Penguin show?
Nowhere need this shit. I'm sick of Batman's mid-ass side characters keep getting
hater.
leads.
You're such a hater.
But
no reason.
No, I ain't gonna say for no reason when I'm giving the reason. These side characters don't warrant having their own shows. A lot of the Batman rogue gallery is not particularly interesting. The Joker is just a psycho clown who's a rabid dog. Like, he doesn't need his own stuff. Harley Quinn, I guess they've made her more interesting. But like to Brian's point, Penguin not even a cool character. What's his defining trait? He's a gangster with some trick umbrellas that shoot a harpoon and it misses when Batman attacks. Look, this is what every Penguin storyline is.
Isn't
Penguin
he like a master planner kind of guy?
Everybody in the Batman universe is an effing master planner.
He has a knife hidden in his umbrella handle.
Half the time, a Penguin plan is him doing some generic gangster shit. Batman shuts it down. Penguin, it's over. It's never over. Penguin noises. Batman attacks Penguin. Penguin uses a blade in his umbrella or some shit. It's Batman, so it doesn't work. Penguin gets decked in the jaw. Copper, and that's it. He's not an interesting character and doesn't have anything cool about him. If we're gonna keep it a buck, we didn't need any of this. Now, granted, the show is really good and does a bunch of things right, but I want to. but that does not mean that we needed another Batman character to have a sideshow that doesn't even have Batman in it, as far as we can tell. But like, let's be realistic. Batman is not finna be in this show. Now, Brian, what you said before, I'd watch a Clayface show.
Yo, Clayface,
he's equal parts tragic, cool power. His motivation is more interesting in that he's a failed actor. And again, we'll talk more about Penguin, but Penguin's character at its peak is just deformed gangster. Like, ultimately, that's what it is. That's interesting. Not interesting.
That plays with your mind. Plays with
that
your
can
psyche.
Be almost every other mob movie ever. What, a mobster gangster?
That doesn't mean it's not going to be good.
Because of circumstances beyond their control, is limited in their rank of where they can grow. I'm describing The Irishman. I'm describing the movie with the hitman dude, the Iceman. Like, my point is, like, yeah, so but my point is,
you're opposed to having more great shows about characters with depth and with, real, like, actual struggles in their life.
I'm saying
that
you
didn't know this had depth at face value, though.
That's
right? I'm saying that
we're just thinking the Penguin.
Yeah, my point is that it's a well-executed show, but you didn't have to attach any of the Penguin stuff to make this show good at what it's good at. you could literally change the name
No,
of
but
every single character, and the things about this show that works would work. So I guess in my mind, why do we have a DC show with a DC character if it's not really leaning into what the DC property brings to the table?
let me remind us that we talked last week, our last pod, about Agatha not really needing to be connected, and it could have just brought in all these witch tropes and stuff, and it didn't need to be part of the MCU either. So it's okay. It's okay to not, to not have that. I think. I was interested in the show, but I wasn't super like I needed to have this show for sure. But I've been pleasantly surprised so far. And I know you guys tell me that I don't like anything, but I've actually really been enjoying the show. I've only seen one episode, so maybe, it'll change as the show
Yeah.
goes on. But
All I'll say
let's
is
talk about
no one in the history of ever has said, I want to know more about the Penguin.
That's not
No
true.
one's ever said,
Someone
that's an
has said
interesting
it.
character.
Yeah,
I want to know more
zoologist.
about his I want to know more about his backstory. I wonder what he's got going on.
All right. Well, I'll be the first. I wanted to know what was going
The
on.
only movie I want to watch
that's
about
cool.
penguins is maybe like March of the Penguins
So sad.
or
Yeah,
Surf's Up.
That's
And-
so stressful.
I do want
Or
to
Happy
come
Feet.
at you for your argument, Wes. Agatha is different because Agatha was an interesting character to begin with. So we were like, yeah, let's see
Gotcha,
more
okay,
Agatha. Penguin, on the other hand, quack, quack, quack. Penguin with a monocle.
But that's other penguins. This penguin was interesting, and I think in some ways the reason why I wasn't as excited about Agatha is because she was like really interesting in WandaVision, but sort of had her arc, and I don't know, I was satisfied. I was like, great, you did your job. I wasn't like craning. I wasn't pining for more Agatha Harkness story, whereas like we just got a little
You
taste
really
of
telling me that you interested
Penguin?
in Penguin?
we got a little taste of Penguin in the Batman movie, and it was like, oh damn, I had no idea that's Colin Farrell, and like
He kind of
there's just-
stole the show in the Batman movie.
there was
I
just
will
like
say
moments
that.
where I don't know if he stole it, but yeah, there's moments where he just like stood out, and I was like, okay, like I could see something here. So
Yeah,
I was
gangster with a
interested in this
bad
show.
foot.
I didn't say I didn't say we needed this show, but I was interested. I think it's doing well. Let's talk about this first. Sav kind of admitted this. What does this show do well? Brian, what have you seen from the show that you're like, we're cooking here?
Do you want me to talk about Colin Farrell or do you want me to talk about world building?
You can talk about whatever you want.
I'll talk about Colin Farrell first.
Okay.
Because that's what we were just talking about, right?
Yeah.
In the Batman movie, for those that haven't seen it, right, the Penguin makes an appearance, a couple of
Sav
appearances.
is raising his hand.
He's doing jazz hands right now. I don't know. I don't know what that is, Mr. Jazz hands.
It's me agreeing that I didn't see it.
So you should see it, man. It's pretty good. Anyway, so
Just
Colin
turn it off
Farrell.
2/3 of the way through. After that, you don't need to watch.
Yeah. Watch the first 2 hours of that 3-hour movie. So Colin Farrell shows up as the Penguin in the Batman, right? Not a supervillain, just a mid-level gangster working for the Falcons. But the thing is that the entire movie, I'm watching him like, oh, this version of Penguin is kind of hilarious, really great, like, over the top Tony Soprano kind of situation. And then after the movie ends, when the credits roll, that's when I personally realized that it was Colin Farrell. And I was like, what? That
Of
Irish
the
guy?
phone
That's
booth
Colin
fame.
Farrell?
Yeah.
The
From phone
the pretty boy Brad Pitt wannabe dude, that was who's playing the Penguin. And
It was surprising.
yes, he himself has had, like Matthew McConaughey had a reconnaissance. Colin Farrell in the past 5 to 10 years has been having a Pharrellissance, not to be confused with
Pharrell Williams.
the other Pharrell
NERD.
who's had a lifelong Pharrellissance. But Colin Farrell, he was killing it as the Penguin. And so, okay, so now that brings us to this TV series in which he is really able to shine even more so, right? Just like taking off, right? Completely unrecognizable. You wouldn't know it's him. Puts on the thickest, craziest mafioso Jersey Shore accent you can possibly believe, but it's believable. Like
Yeah,
he
it
is
is.
so committed to this character. Every tick in his facial expressions, his waddle because of his messed up club foot or whatever, you know, his gangster attitude, his, you know, his you know, I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm not going to take it when somebody laughs at me. I might fly off the handle, but I also have a big heart for my mom. All of that coming into one package through Colin Farrell's acting, right? It is just phenomenal. It is phenomenal. Like every scene, which is basically every scene in the show that the Penguin appears in, he's riveting. Like you know, you don't know what to expect from 1 minute to the next, but he's always going to be funny, surprising, you know, complicated, and just flat out interesting. And I think that's a testament to the way that they've written Oswald Cobblepot into something more interesting than what the source material gives. And it's
They
also
changed
a
his
testament.
name. I think it's just Cobb.
Yeah, it's Cobb.
Is it just Oswald Cobb?
Yeah,
Thank,
Yeah, it used to be
thank God.
Cobblepot.
Thank God he's not Cobblepot. And you know, of course, they don't call him the Penguin, which
No.
you know, I'm glad that they are not there yet. I'm sure it'll come up at some point. They call him Oz, right? So he feels very much part of just this mafia world. And then so they've written him really well, and then just the way that is portrayed by Colin Farrell, you know, he's just eating this up. You can tell he's having a good time playing this character,
Even though he hated
like
the
none other
prosthetic.
before.
Even though he complained at length about how he hated the prosthetics.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
did
I
he?
haven't
Oh,
read
he
that.
talked about how he was like towards the end of production. I was like, man, he was just saying I was complaining about the prosthetic to anybody who will listen to me.
Oh man, but the prosthetics are so good. Like they have to do they choose to do super close-ups on his face, and I mean it just looks so real, so believable. You can't tell it's Colin Farrell. It's not just a one-piece thing or a two-piece thing. It's like his whole thing. They add like layers to his neck, and it works right. Like you can see the pores in his
Like a
face.
CIA job of just
Oh,
changing
man,
someone's
it's-
identity. Like, oh, the
It's
CIA
so
could
good.
absolutely just
Who
do
knows
hits
what
off
he
of that.
witnessed?
Yeah, that makeup department for sure went all out, and they brought out the big guns, man. Whoever they got A+ makeup artists on that show for sure.
He kind of looks like De Niro in The Irishman, to be honest with you. And he actually gives a lot of that energy in his performance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just so much like internal
does. He
rage,
does.
but also like care, and he's managing to balance both of those at the same time. His ability to be like, they've really characterized him as like this smooth talker who can get in and out of situations, kind of, you know, like how Star-Lord is sort of characterized that way, but way less goofy and just more just like,
He got
I got the
finesse.
answer for you. Yeah, he's trying to finesse his way out of situations, and he's having to navigate all these different potholes in the crime world and you know, this world that he's chosen to live in. So dude, Colin Farrell has been killing it. And just to think about him in this versus like Banshees of Inisherin or In Bruges, right?
How about when he was Bullseye in the Daredevil movie?
Right, yeah.
From like 2002.
Yeah, that's
But
right. He
just-
wasn't there.
I never miss.
Just a completely different person. I mean, you just could not tell, like Brian said, that it was him. And it's incredible. You're like, damn, I know this dude's an actor, because you just like, he's just completely that character, and you can't think of him as anybody else. It's pretty nuts, the whatever he's doing or the director's doing or camera's doing. I don't know, but he's just a completely different person. So that's been my thing of the show. The world building is pretty good also, in that we get bits and pieces of how this crime world works. We're getting bits and pieces of this this sister who is like, seems like a little bit like on edge all the time. Not his sister, it's the sister of one of the
Sophia
crime boss
Falcone.
kids. Yeah, and she seems like she's kind of got the mental like, oh, I know what's going on here situation down, and she's going to be probably the main kind of foil to what he's trying to do. So I don't know. I mean, I think that the way that they're building this world and the way that it happens, you know, we know that he goes to like the red light district because he must be there a lot. The people know him there. And the way that they've like driven his character as someone who means well, but is also a product of his environment, right? He's obsessed with getting respect. He's obsessed with getting what people, what he thinks is his and what he deserves, but in a way, but he doesn't have physical power, right? And he doesn't have money. And so he's really beholden to these people and really trying to play their game, but trying to beat them at it. And so I've just been loving the way that like they've put him into this situation, and he's got limitations, right? He's not an all powerful villain. He's actually like, just kind of a mid-level dude, and he's trying to figure out how to get to the top.
He's very vulnerable.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. He's in a precarious
Absolutely.
situation.
He's
So
a dude.
that's what I've been liking. Sav, what do you think they've been doing well in this show? He's like, nothing. Didn't need this show.
The show is not needed, but it is a well put together show. There's a distinction in these opinions. No, the show's very well put together. The production value is very high. It doesn't feel cheaply made. You can really tell that they put their effort behind just the set pieces, the camera shots. Gotham really not feeling comparable to really any city that I can think of in real life, which DC actually I think is pretty good about that. A little people haven't picked up on this. A big distinction between DC and Marvel is Marvel uses real cities and locations, right? Their heroes are all based out of places that exist in real life.
Yeah,
the
New
Avengers
York.
are in New York. Spider-Man's in New York. There's the West Coast Avengers. The cities are real. In DC, they don't use real cities often. They often have the characters exist in fictional cities, right? Batman has Gotham. Superman has Metropolis. What is it? The Flash has Central City. All that to say, they do a good job of Gotham looking like this awful, downtrodden, falling apart city that I can't quite compare easily to any other city in the country. Like maybe you could try New York, but even Gotham has a feel that's not quite like New York. I think they did a good job of making the city feel real, but not feel like when you're there, you can immediately kind of feel like, oh, I'm in this American city. It has like a very generic but still distinct vibe that I like, because with everything and how awful Gotham is and everything that's happening, I think trying to ground that in a real city wouldn't work as well. Like your best bet maybe be New York, but I think New York can sometimes feel like the easy answer of, oh, big city where things are happening, right? So
I think it helps the story move along, right? Like,
yeah, you feel me on that?
You can't
though?
say like, oh, all half of New York City's cops are on the take from the Falcons and they're all corrupt, right? It just like disrupts your sense of belief. But when you pin it on Gotham and Gotham being a seedy place, you can embrace that more.
Because you need Gotham to be a crappy city, and trying to do that as a hard analogy for a real city, I think it's just harder because you have too much real history you got to work with and around. Gotham has its own mythology, its own lore, even in other Batman stories and comics, right? Like there's old head Gotham figures who were issues back in the day. And so the fact that the city feels like it's alive, it's its own distinct self, it has its own mythology. Major characters who are movers and shakers don't even live in the time that the story takes place, but it works for talking about how deep-seated the criminal stuff is and how much they run the city. So I guess that's a world building comment, but they did that extraordinarily well. The other piece is that the dialogue is really, really good. They do a good balance of it being believable and feeling like this is how real people talk, whether it's pauses, inflections. Every conversation doesn't always feel like a speech, but it's just not hyper grounded enough. And so for context, Brian, I actually saw that movie The Irishman like maybe a month ago, so I saw it relatively
because Tony made you watch it, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Tony. Thank goodness for this woman.
Whatever. But so I'm making a few comparisons between the two. I'm making some comps between the two, but I think the distinction is that this is grounded, gritty, really gets you bought into that criminal lifestyle, but the characters feel real. But it's just dramatic enough to where it's also still giving you like that Hollywood entertainment value. As much as The Irishman was grounded, I felt there were moments where it felt a little too grounded. And I'm like, okay, I actually do need a little flair because it's starting to feel a little dry. I think Penguin does a good mix of realistic dialogue, but this is still a show about criminals doing wild shit. So just enough off the wall action sequences for you to kind of feel like, okay, this isn't exactly how it'd be in real life. But also Penguin isn't an action star character, so the badass sequences feel earned because he's not Batman. He's not a ninja you expect to flip off walls. He's this out of shape, scarred up dude who's really a perpetual underdog, which surprisingly enough, is what's made him such an endearing character, because there's nothing really sympathetic about this character. You're kind of just root for him because everybody else is in positions of power and are awful too. At least that's how I feel.
I think something they built in for someone like me is that whole scene that kind of sets this whole thing off, and this is a spoiler, but it happens in the first like 20 minutes, is like the younger Falcone, right? The new head of the Falcone family.
Alberto, right?
Yeah,
Alberto.
He like ribs him real hard.
Maybe I shouldn't do that.
Because he ribs him real hard because he finds out that Penguin actually has some design on actually being remembered for doing things good and for like building up community. And he's like, yo, you're being like really crazy right now. Like he's just like, that's such a silly idea. Like, what a dream to have for someone in your position. And I think it just lends this idea that in different circumstances and in a different city or a different time or different, family, he would have been that person, right? That's who he longs to have been. And just because of the way he grew up and the family that he's in and the situation that he's in Gotham meant that he had to survive a different way. And he wasn't really afforded that opportunity. And so I think this idea that like, oh, he's not really, that there's nothing in it for him. It's not like likable. It's like, oh, sort of, but like he would also be like, I think there's that tension, right? Of he would be a different person in different circumstances, but he's not in different circumstances. And so he's had to do terrible things. And he's got a little bit of flair of, not a flare. He's got a little bit of a streak of impetuousness or impulsiveness where he can't stand to be disrespected. And I imagine they're going to get into that because it probably stems from his foot, right? Like of growing up that way and having people make fun of him and never give him respect, that he just shoots the guy like right in his face, right in front of him for no reason other than he got made fun of to his face. And
he laughs.
Yeah. And that's just like, oh, dude, you're broken, right? You're insane. Even though
Crash Out King, baby.
Yeah, even though you really want to help people, like you're fucking insane. And that sets off like all kinds of things, right? It moves the plot forward because it makes it so like, oh shit, what do I do now? And it also lends itself to whenever he's interacting with people, you don't know if he's about to lose it and shoot them. And that comes into play with his new sidekick, right? But I don't know. I think that was just like a great way to like show who he was rather than saying like, then having people say like, oh, you never know what Penguin's going to do or whatever. It's just like, oh shit. Like we just saw in the first 10 minutes what he can do when he's not fully in control of himself.
Well, you see, they flesh him out as like a fully realized character, right?
Yeah,
like he's complicated in that he's ambitious in terms he wants power. He's still a criminal, so let's not pretend this is coming from the good of his heart. And even the uplifting neighborhood, he wants to uplift it in terms of a benevolent criminal way. But let's don't get it twisted. The man is not a good altruist person by any means. He's still a gangster and a criminal. He just wants to be that honorable, the nicest version of a gangster that you could really be, which is still a gangster, but you're trying, pay it forward to other poor folks. But like, let's not pretend this dude is a good person. But I like that they established that he's shrewd, he's smart, he's quick on his feet, he's a great improviser. He also, to your point, Wes, has some insecurities that I'm sure we're going to learn more about, and those are triggers that can cause him to act out of himself. And it's a really fun, I think he'll be a fun character to watch because he's the type of character who's smart enough to navigate and fix problems, but impulsive enough to where he will simultaneously create his own problems that requires those skills in order to fix.
Yeah.
Which makes for a cool character because he's going to do dope shit, but also it's going to be like, he's going to be one of those, yeah. And then other times, no. And those tend to be those are characters who I don't find myself liking, but I find myself enjoying watching them on screen. Very much like he's very much giving me almost Walter White vibes of, I hate this character. I don't like anything about you. I have to watch your every move because you're just so dynamic. And it's like, oh man, you're going to do something and I'm not going to like it. Probably not. But I think that makes for, and Wes, I know you have big feelings about shows where you don't feel like there's anybody to really root for, but I like that I'm not rooting for him, but I am intrigued by his journey and want to just see how it plays out. But I don't necessarily want him to win. I just want to be like, all right, all y'all suck. What's about to happen?
They've given me enough. I'm rooting for him. Like
really?
He's got a soft spot. He's got some soft spots.
I mean, they show him with his mama.
Yeah,
you can't.
Everybody got a
hate
mama.
On a man. You can't hate on a man that, you know, cares for his mom
But he's
as
also
much as he
caring.
does.
He's caring for Vic. I mean, there's something about it where he's like, actually, like, this is a chance for me to support somebody else in a way, and like he wants
Who
right
I have
now.
a soft spot for.
Yeah, he,
For
Yeah.
very understandable reasons, right?
yeah. All right.
But I think one thing that I also want to call out, right, is not just his underdog status and, you know, his impetuousness, chip on the shoulder attitude, but also his this other thing that Savon is talking about, right? Like, he is good at having plans and strategies, but creates his own problems in the execution and has to think on his feet. And so episode 2 gets pretty intense and fun and wild because he is completely freestyling, right? He is trying to correct a lot of problems all at once, by taking advantage of whatever the situation gives him. And seeing this maniacal Machiavellian character try to take advantage of situations, not knowing what the outcome is going to be exactly, right? Like, we know he's not going to die, but we also know that, you know, even in episode 1, he could be taken hostage any moment. Like, he could be
You can take an L
beaten
that's
and
not death.
tortured. Yes. Yeah. Something bad could really happen. And it feels like he's on the edge of that in almost every scenario, but then has like the audacity and the nerve to come out on top because he's just figuring out all the angles. And so that's really cool to watch, especially in episode 2, when, you know, the heist that he orchestrated goes haywire, and you see him think in a split second, like, okay, which side am I going to play off of right now? I think I got to play this side right now. And then later on, he's got to play the other side. So I think that level of uncertainty, and quick thinking action on his part just makes the show that much more watchable, right? Because we are nervous. We don't know which side of the line he's going to fall on exactly.
His own line. That's the beauty.
Yeah, he's trying to do right for himself. He doesn't really care about it. But one of the characters, I think it was Maroney, calls him out on his like lack of loyalty to them, and he's like, "No, I'm not working with you because you're just a snake, and like I can't trust that you're gonna actually do what you say you're gonna do." And it's like, yeah, it's probably right, probably right. But Penguin still manages to manipulate him, right? He gives him the ring, and it just sets off something in Maroney that is clear that it's like, oh, this could be something that he is useful for him, right? And so he's got that backup plan for himself, of something he can do in the moment to try and save the situation a little bit. Do you guys have a favorite character? It sounds like Penguin's really standing out. Is there another character that stands out to you? I mean, I think Sophia is kind of terrifying, and she's been acted really well. We just don't know much about her yet, but the scenes that she's been in have been like magnetic. Sav, do you have one?
No, I don't have a favorite character. Penguin's obviously going to get the most screen time, and he's going to be the most compelling character, but I am not rooting for him. I'm not very sympathetic to him.
To who?
Penguin.
Okay.
Like, to me, him being chill with the old boy and sparing him out of really something he needed more so, and his mama going, you know, having mental health, and like, that's cool. That humanizes him. That gives me understanding of his motivations and what's important to him and how that might shift and all of that. It doesn't make me like him more, but it gives him a compelling journey. Between that, his relationship with the lady who's in charge of the escorts and all that stuff, like, I don't have a favorite character. I just think that the chessboard they have set up is an interesting one. I'm not rooting for anybody. I don't really care what happens to any one particular character over another. I just want to see an interesting crime drama and see how, you know, Penguin finesses and makes through this shit show that he's navigating. So, but me not having a favorite is not an indictment on the show. It's just, this isn't the kind of show where a certain character is what's pulling me in. It's more so just the larger conflict.
Brian, do you have a favorite character you've seen on screen so far?
Oz is definitely the main showpiece, right?
Yeah.
But I do, you know, Sophia's really interesting character, and I think it's gonna become very much of a two-hander kind of show, right? Like the interplay between those two, Penguin
Mm-hmm.
and Sophia. But the character I actually like the most, who I believe is based on previews for future episodes, is gonna get more of a backstory, is Victor, the the teenage punk kid who tried to steal Penguin's car, got shot at, and somehow Penguin realized, like, oh, he can use this kid to help him bury a body, and then more, right? And I think a lot of that has to do with just the fact that the kid, one, is from the same neighborhood that Oz is from, I believe. But more importantly, is that the kid has a stutter, right? Um, and so he is exhibiting this, disability, if you want to call it that, right? That is linked to, how Oz felt, with his foot growing up, whatever, being counted out. And so Oz is trying to put Victor under his wing. What I like about Victor is
But
that he is, I wasn't
Penguin.
even intending that.
Penguin wing.
It's like a what do you call that? The emperor penguins, and
Yeah.
having their young under the wings.
Mhm.
Anyway, so Victor's a baby penguin. Victor is not a villain, right? Victor is just some down and out kid, who seems really sweet for the most part, right? And very, very sympathetic. Like, sweet kid, ran out of options, found his way to the Penguin of all people, could and just needs like a hand, right? And so I think what's interesting is that Penguin is trying to say to Victor, like, hey, like, you gotta snatch life by the claws and just make it
Mhm.
your own, because nobody else is going to do that for you, right? Like, so basically Penguin is trying to make Victor hard. He's trying to get Victor to break bad even more, right? And to become like his right hand man, gangster. And you can tell by the way Victor is, like, that's going to be a long, long journey, right? He messes up. He messed up a planned drop. He wasn't able to decapitate the head of Alberto Falcone like the way that the Penguin wanted, right? He is nervous about things. He's worried. He has family or friends or something calling on his phone, and he's trying to get back to his people. You can tell that Victor does not really belong in this world, right? Like, he seems just like a good, sweet kid. But now he's being indoctrinated, and he's being which what is that thing you call it when predators.
Grooming.
Yeah, he's being groomed. He's being groomed for a criminal life. And so I can only foresee that this is going to become a problem. He's going to become very conflicted throughout the series, and probably not do a lot of things the way that Penguin wants him to do.
There is not a happy ending for this
Yeah,
arc between these two. Like,
for
this is
sure.
one
For
of those.
sure.
It's gonna be a sweet dynamic. They're clearly kindred spirits in a lot of way. Penguin can clearly see. We talked before, right? See the analogy between them, and even said this world isn't meant for us, people like us. And he's talking about the downtrodden, the poor. It's weird, right? That even in this criminal underworld, the show has a very I think, at least, which is funny because it ties to the last Batman movie. I mean, according to y'all, a lot of like classist overtones of, even in the criminal underworld. Some people exist in privilege. Some people were born with it all. There's still a hierarchy, not unlike if you were outside of this criminal underworld. And I think that's what makes you want to root for a character like Penguin. Like, yeah, they're all criminals, but in the context of criminals, he's lower on the totem pole, and this is how those power dynamics play out. So you kind of want him to succeed, because you're like, oh, these other folks were born with it, and they're less competent or not even good at it. Because the dude who became in charge, Alberto, he had substance abuse issues, and it's like, oh, you born into this, you don't deserve this type. But all that to say, that clearly motivates him. That's going to drive him and the kid's relationship. There is no happy ending for that, and this is one of them shows where there's not going to be a happy ending no matter how you spin this. No matter how this goes, awful things are going to happen to people, and it's going to be a rough ride. I do want to highlight the character Salvatore Moroni, who was in prison, played by the legendary Clancy Brown, also known as Mr. Krabs, also known. Oh man, the dude's resume.
Wait, what's Mr. Krabs reference? What's that?
What you mean?
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob.
Oh, he's the guy from SpongeBob?
He voices a lot of people. Yeah, he was he voiced SpongeBob. Like if you he was in John Wick.
I think he's been in Star Wars.
He's been in a lot of stuff. Like he was
Small role.
He was in Ahsoka. He was one of the characters in Gen V. He was in Mandalorian. He was in Daredevil. Like he's in a lot of stuff. But yeah, if you watch a lot of cartoons and video games, he has a really big voice. Where he was Yacone in Legend of Korra. He's in all kinds of crap. So I just wanted to highlight. Shout out to Clancy Brown. I'm a huge Clancy Brown fan. Anything he appears in, I'm like, it's Mr. Krabs / a bunch of other dope.
Got a great voice.
Dude's voice is great. I don't know if you ever watched that show, The
His
Venture
wife's
Brothers.
voice is crazier.
Who's his wife?
His wife sounds like she's been smoking 2 packs a day since she was 2 years old.
Oh, in the show.
In the show.
Oh,
okay.
I thought you meant like the
I heard
actual
his
actor.
real life.
Like his wife's a voice actor too. But yeah,
Maybe.
So shout out to Clancy. Shout out to Clancy Brown. That's an OG.
I love it. All right. If it weren't for the pod, would you watch this? Are you still going to continue to watch this, Sav?
If it wasn't for the pod, I wasn't gonna watch this because I was pretty strong about like just the premise of the show, regardless of the content and quality. But y'all convinced me
money
to
grab.
end up
You felt like
watching
it was a money grab.
Nah, I don't even think it felt like a money grab. It just felt like just no one asked for this.
Right.
But maybe people did. But hey, sometimes people don't ask for something and it turns out it's what they needed. So cool. A good show is a good show. I wasn't gonna watch it. The podcast and then Tony's kind of into it a little bit too. I think those two combined were like, all right, I'll give it a shot. The show was pretty good, so I'm gonna continue to watch it. I still stand by what I said of no one asked for this shit, but it's a well put together show, so I won't complain beyond that.
Yeah, can't complain about good TV and well produced TV.
If
and
it's good, it's good when it's all said and done.
I feel you on that, Brian.
Yeah, this show to me was like a cue it kind of situation before. Like, yeah, I was going to check it out. I didn't know when, right? Like, I've definitely been watching a ton of other stuff, prioritizing that over the Penguin. But when I finally dove into it and realized that it's a crime drama,
right?
a gritty crime drama, and one that's, superbly acted and really just well done top to bottom. That is all I need in life. That is all I need in life. Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, Ripley, Tokyo Vice, like all these shows. Like that's, to me that's just the meal that I want to eat constantly. So I'm definitely all in on the Penguin, right? Like if they can maintain this level throughout the entire season, I'm for sure in. And, it has become the show that I'm looking forward to every week now.
I'm into it. I'm enjoying it. We get another episode on Sunday. It releases Sunday nights, I believe. So they put it in the like spotlight, time slot on Sunday evenings. All right. A little bit, out of left field here. So Penguin, right, gets named Penguin. He's kind of a silly name, and you're not really supposed to take it too seriously as a villain name. But what would be your moniker? What would be your nom de guerre of if you were in Batman's rogues gallery? I have trouble with this. I think I'm hard. I have a hard time imagining myself as a villain. But I want to be a strong character. I want to be someone who's got like a terrifying name. So I think you would have to call me
villainous shit, Wes.
You have to call me the Dragon. I want to be fire breathing. I want to be intimidating. I want to be somewhat
a stereotype,
mystical. Right? Not a stereotype. What are you talking about?
What are we talking about? Effing East
the
Asian
gongs.
instrument. Gong, right? He is known. Who is he? He's known as the Dragon. Gong.
I don't want to be Mushu. I don't want to be like from Mulan Dragon. I want to be like a fighting dragon, bro. Like, yeah. I want to be.
Calm down,
Vagar.
Vagar.
Dragon.
Yeah, we just watch House
yeah.
of the Dragon. You see what happened when they fight. They
Exactly.
die.
I want to be one of those dragons. I want to be, but I want to be terrifying like that. So that's me. I'm going to be the dragon. Not a Bruce Lee reference because that would be racist. I want to be the dragon.
But you would be a European dragon? That might be arguably a worse answer.
I want to be a terrifying, fire breathing, like vicious dragon. And that's how I got my nickname.
How would this nickname come about? Like, why would your friends and
It's
enemies
got to be the
call you
ironic
dragon?
one. It's got to be the
Maybe-
ironic one. Like the big guy called Tiny.
Maybe I'm an arsonist. Maybe I just set fires, and that's how I got my name. I don't know.
People who cross west 3 days later, like clockwork, their house burns down. They started to call him the dragon.
Yeah, it could be.
Do
Or
not
mostly
invoke his
because he's
flame.
mostly because he's Asian. All right, I didn't think this through. Maybe I got to choose a different name. Savon, what are they gonna call you?
Don't worry, I'm not going to be the Panther.
The Black Panther.
No.
The Black Jaguar.
Yes, no. I would. I'm trying to think. If I was a gangster, my whole gangster shtick would definitely be a polite, cool, calm. Like, I would want to be the gangster in the gangster movie who, if you met me, you don't think that I'm a gangster, you know? It's like, oh, this guy?
So you're
like,
like the orc. You're like the killer whale of the group.
Are you the chameleon?
No, like I want mine. No, it needs to be something unassuming that's seemingly harmless. Like,
Well,
I
orcas
want mine.
seem harmless. Like
No,
they're
like,
in the
no.
Shamu show,
Nah,
and they're
man.
fucking predator
Orcas are
killers.
top tier apex predators.
But we only learned that in the past like 15 years. Before that we thought they were all just Shamus.
Don't put. Hey, I read encyclopedias. I knew they was gangster. Don't include me in that. Don't include me in that ignorance.
Okay.
No,
So who are you gonna be?
I want my scene in the gangster movie. I come up, a guy's trying to make a deal. He's being real disrespectful. Doesn't take me seriously because I'm chilling or I ain't got the gangster vibe. And then I'm like, all right, that's what you want to do. And then I like snap my finger, and then they do something
Trapdoor spider.
or something exceedingly violent to make a point. Like, like
Yikes.
Gus Breaking Bad energy of like, oh, he don't seem dangerous. Like, that's why he dangerous, because he don't
Slit
seem
your throat with a
dangerous.
box cutter.
Himself type energy. So I would want to be something that's like, what's a creature that seems harmless, but then in the wrong context is actually extremely dangerous? The dart frog. You know
I was
what I'm
just
saying?
about to say a poisonous frog.
Yeah,
Okay.
Colorful, seemingly harmless. Oh, I'm wearing.
Looks
I might
like it's high.
Knowing me, I'm wearing colorful tie. I might have a tie-dye shirt. Hey, you wanted to do business? They real disrespectful, and it's like, I seem harmless, but actually. And then my two guys just take him, pull him into a room he's never seen again. It's just like, all right, anybody else got any questions? Nope.
But
All right.
the problem with the dart frog, in order to be deadly, he's got to be eaten first.
And this is where you are taking the analogy too far. The point is, doesn't seem dangerous, is dangerous. Point has been made. They call me the dart frog.
The dark frog just keeps trying to engage in sexual activity with other gangsters.
No,
Unleash
stop
his
making
power.
it weird, damn it. I just want to be a poisonous creature, and y'all making it weird.
I love it. Wait,
dart
did you
frog.
know? Wait, I was reading something. I think this was an Instagram meme. It was like, if you're venomous, then you're the one doing the attacking, and if you're poisonous,
Yeah.
you're the one getting attacked.
Venom has to be injected, so that's snakes that bite you,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
vipers.
interesting.
Spiders.
Venom
right?
has to be
They're
injected.
venomous.
You're trying
Poison
to
has
emit
to
the
be
venom
ingested.
Right, but if you're poisonous, that means that you are like getting eaten, or something like licked you, or
that's a
Yeah,
defensive.
poison.
Yeah,
Poison
it's
has
defensive.
to be poison has to be ingested. That's the big thing. Poison has to be ingested in a defensive
Well, it could
way.
be. Couldn't it be skin contact? Maybe I don't know. Maybe you're right. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought if you touch like some poisonous frogs,
That
you're
could also
gonna
make
have a
you sick.
problem.
You don't touch
Yeah.
them and die. It just has to
Oh,
get
okay.
into your. So, I mean,
Oh,
some can
I
be
thought
absorbed
if you
through
touch
skin. Some have to be absorbed through skin, but ultimately, that's still different than like getting injected with something.
Fair
But
enough.
the big thing is, venom is injected offensively into your blood.
Yeah, it's
Poison
offense.
poison is
Poison is
ingested.
defensive.
Yeah,
So
or
are you poison
ingested.
or are you venom?
He's poisonous.
This would be poison.
Yeah.
Poison.
This would be
Yeah.
we're chill, but if you decide you want to mess with me, you're gonna pay the consequences.
I hear you. All right, Brian, what would be your moniker?
So, I sort of mentioned this as Savon was describing his gangster persona. Mine Mine, I'm definitely not a bruiser. You know, I'm not a thumb breaker or anything like that.
It's not a gorilla or
I
a elephant.
I don't think
Nothing.
I'm not the mastermind. You know, I'm not top of the food chain orchestrating the mafia. I don't know what animal that would be either. Maybe that would just be a human. Um
The
a
man.
Homo sapien.
What they call you? What they call him? The man.
The man. Down with the
Homo
man.
erectus. But I would definitely be. I think I'd be more in the cut, right? Like
Okay.
I would be the dude who's kind of like the fixer, right? Who are normally called wolves, right? Sort of like the fixer. I'm maybe trying to get intel. You know, I'm trying to plant seeds. I'm quietly tailing people. You know, and I'm fitting into situations because of my unsuspecting nature,
Well, I like it. Okay.
right? Like I'm able to get into this area, that area, this group of people, that group of people. They don't know that I'm linked up, and that I got my
Ooh.
eyes on you.
Okay, I got
And
one
that
in mind
I'm
then.
helping the gang.
Let's see if I'm right.
So like, to me, that's sort of like that's the chameleon, right? Like I'm in the cut, right?
No, you dropped the ball here.
I'm taking the shade of the environment, and before you know it, I snatch the food.
All right. Okay.
What
I
were
see that.
you thinking? What were you thinking?
Oh, I was
This
thinking
is
you were
hyena
gonna be.
vibes.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna be like a cheetah, right? Because the cheetah blends in. The cheetah's like creeping up in the
Cheetah's
grassland.
also fast.
but like you don't know it's
Cheetah
there.
is godlike.
You don't know it's there.
Athletic ability.
Yeah, you don't know it's there, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's too late, right? You got taken down. So I thought that's where
Maybe Siberian tiger. You never see one of those, right?
Yeah.
Like that's once in a blue moon, maybe. But Siberian tiger
be
is
the
also
cricket.
vicious and dangerous.
You could be the cricket.
Maybe I'm the cricket. I'm just playing the
Quiet.
violin in the corner.
No one's seeing you, but you're passing along messages, making sure everybody can. You're not seen, but your presence is felt.
All right.
They
I like
don't
the
see you, but
chameleon
they
though,
know
man.
what's up.
Those are great hunters. That prehensile tongue is something to behold. It's
Yeah,
like,
I got shifty eyes, man. Shifty eyes. It's all over the place.
that's like a Kaya move. That's like Kaya goes, watch me, and she'll do something like, and we're like, wow, that's awesome. You did your eyebrow.
It's like
You
when
gotta
I
be
show
honest.
people.
Hey,
I can
unless
go
you can
cross-eyed.
do the rock eyebrow, the people's eyebrow, tell Kaya, Daddy is not impressed. Papa's praise is gonna have the bar is a little bit higher, baby. When he just go back to the drawing board.
All right, let's get back to the Penguin. So I think it's too early to rate this show, right? We've only had a couple of episodes, but I am
8.5 out of 10.
I am I'm really high
3
on
out
the
of
show.
5.
I think it's got a lot of potential. I've enjoyed it so far. If you haven't been watching it, I do think it's a show worth checking out. It sounds like Brian's thinks it's pretty good and worth checking out. And Savon also actually enjoying it despite his objection to it existing in the first place. So I think that's a good place to be. And so for all you people who say I don't enjoy anything, I've really been enjoying this show so far.
Well, you people,
I'm the only person who say that. What the hell is that supposed to mean?
Tyler was making fun of me the other day as well.
But you really don't be enjoying nothing, Wes.
I
You
do.
watching everything. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I don't know why they're doing this thing. I don't know why they're.
All right, I'll try to enjoy more things.
Do you, bro? If you don't like shit, more power to you.
I just overthink it. I think sometimes,
Wes, what do you like absolutely love, and you cannot even help yourself because you enjoy it that much?
Apex. I play Apex too much. I will play it to the detriment of my sleep, to the detriment of my
to your children
mental health. I get angry when I play it, and still play it.
And yet he doesn't understand how the game works half the time.
Hey, they made a bunch of updates recently that I didn't catch up on. I've been busy.
Then they get mad at me for reading patch notes, but then also want to ask questions or just be wrong about shit.
I plead the Fifth Amendment rights apply here. Friends, we're out of here. I don't know what's coming next on our show. Do you guys know what we're talking about next?
Ooh, I
We
don't
haven't
know what's
talked about
coming
it yet.
out.
All right.
Who knows?
We gotta figure out
We'll
what
put the
shows.
homework. We'll put the homework
Listeners,
on
tell
social
us what
media.
we should watch.
Yeah, right.
or
What's hot in the
play,
streets?
or whatever.
Well, we did the watch Q cancel something like that last week, so you guys should know what's coming up next more than I should. But go listen to the pod and tell them why they're wrong. I'm definitely not Chris Paul. Fuck, man.
Who's
Paul.
the Chris Paul animal?
I don't know. Who's the two-faced punk ass? I don't know. Whatever. It's fine.
The floor general. Maybe he's the meerkat.
Maybe he's the meerkat. That'd be a good one. All right, Meerkat Manor. Shout out to you, friends. We're out here. See you later. Hit us up. Bye.
Incredible!